What you are listening to is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in the squared circle. Both parties have agreed to dismiss their cases and have their disputes settled here in our forum, the Turnbuckle Debate.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Turnbuckle Debate. My name is Sneed.
I'm Chad.
I'm Mike.
I'm Ella.
Joining us, returning our guest media personality, Ella J. What's going on?
What's going on, guys? It's been a busy week, but I'm glad to be back. I think this is my third time.
Third time.
So I'm excited to be back.
Well, we were kind of talking off air about this, but we saw you at the Rumble. You got to ask Cody the first question at the presser. You've been killing it, doing stuff for WrestleZone, among others. Let us know what all's going on. Tell us a little bit about your Rumble experience.
Yeah, Rumble experience, like we were saying off air, was so last minute. You know, I just kind of took a shot in the dark. It was kind of a last minute thing. I'm like, I'm going to email them. Then I got approved to do media literally Wednesday night. And I was scheduled to fly out Friday morning. So I was rushing along, had to change my flight so I can make it in to do all the press opportunities and stuff. But yeah, getting into my first WWE presser and doing media for them for the first time was just unbelievable. Luckily, like I said, I was friends with a lot of the media people there who some of them gave me a little bit of help, so I have to give credit where credit is due. But yeah, an amazing opportunity to speak with some WWE superstars for interviews, and then the post-Rumble presser, getting to ask that first question to Cody Rhodes, which, by the way, I wasn't even kind of planning to ask a question. They were kind of just like, do you want to ask Cody a question? I'm like, sure. And then it happened to be the first question. And, luckily I had the first question, so the floor was pretty wide open. And it was such an emotional night for Cody. I made him cry. I didn't mean to. But it was an emotional night for all of us, I think.
It's not hard to make Cody cry.
Yeah. That dude's ready to turn him on.
I love how emotional he is. It's one of my favorite qualities of Cody.
Absolutely.
Cool.
So we're happy to have you back. Like you said, third time's a charm. The first two times were a lot of fun, and I think we're going to have some fun tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I think so. We were also talking off air about it. Again, I kind of just came up with a topic last minute. Little did I know a couple hours later it would actually become pretty relevant.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. You've been here. We have 3 new topics. Mike, it's been a minute for you to be here too. So
yeah, man. Always happy to be down.
in place of Tom. So
yeah, you guys just killed it on Fig Night. You had Sam Roberts and Steve Ozer on. That was awesome.
Yeah, man. We got to plug about that new WCW Nitro entrance stage. A beautiful, beautiful piece of art that damn thing is. But we're working on hustling the fun, man. So if you guys are watching and you didn't buy it yet, go fund the damn stage.
I love that catch for the hustling the fun.
Yeah, hustling the fun.
All right, guys. Well, we have 3 new topics. If you guys are ready, we'll get right into it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. First topic of the evening. If Mercedes Mone only works in New Japan, was leaving WWE impactful?
I'll go ahead and jump in. I think for her, it's definitely impactful. I think she's spreading her wings. I know she got her start on the independents, but let's be honest, she is a WWE product. She came up in arguably the greatest women's class of NXT performers there ever was. She's honed her skills in the ring in WWE, and she's really kind of became an icon of the sport in WWE. And I think it was big on Mercedes to want to go to a place that wrestles completely differently. Like their entire in-ring psychology, everything over there is done differently. And I think you're seeing her play catch up a little bit, like that style she's used to. And they're going to pull things from her, and she's going to pull things from those performers she's working with in Stardom and New Japan. So I do think it's impactful for her. Like, I think this is a great way to sharpen her tools in her tool belt, but impactful as far as like the business. If she, like her current run over there, I feel like it's not hitting as hard with American audiences. And I think that's just because the casual fan, not the hardcores, we're all tapped in, but just the casual fan doesn't really, I feel like she's out of sight, out of mind a little bit with the casuals. Like, where's Mercedes? I feel like she could show up tomorrow on SmackDown and some fans would just be like, where was she at? You know where she went. But I do think as far as like just the general casual fan, pro wrestling fan base, it would be way more impactful if she did show up and did some matches in Impact Wrestling, did some matches in AEW. I think it's just going to hit harder for the fans in America. But yeah, if she goes to New Japan and comes right back to WWE, I don't think it's as impactful as it could have been.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with it's important for her to be out there doing her thing. She's making rounds, she's making towns, but I don't think it's doing too much. As you said, she could show up on SmackDown, this week, and everybody be like, oh, Bianca Belair or Mercedes is back, like rock and roll. Let's get into it. So it's just like, yeah, man. I don't know. It's been lackluster for me. Like even her promos, like nothing's been, eye captivating. Nothing hook, line, sinker. I'm not 100% in on it. So I don't know. It's still left to be a lot to be desired still.
I have to slightly disagree. I don't think the casual fans are it's a long ways away to get the casual fans tuned in to anything other than like AEW or WWE.
Yeah.
Like that's just levels away. So that's not even really a factor for me. But what she's been able to do, especially for New Japan Pro Wrestling, who just introduced their IWGP Women's Championship literally last fall, just crowned their inaugural champion in November. So it's only been about 6 months that they've had the championship. Mercedes coming in as New Japan is slowly trying to build their women's division, which is obviously in conjunction with Stardom, which is their sister company, but they're slowly trying to build and sculpt that women's division for New Japan. And Mercedes coming in, what a way to kind of help kick off and start elevating your women's division, because before it kind of, it might have just been felt like, oh, it's just a side piece of Stardom, but now they're making it a little bit more, like, I don't mean to be, what's it called? I don't mean to make a pun, but it's making it more legit.
Yeah.
So Mercedes there elevates it even more. She getting to work with Kyrie. They've worked together with WWE. Again, a lot of the fans, the American fans, Japan is so niche. It's so niche. Wrestle Kingdom 17 on January 4th. Again, it was the wrestling's worst kept secret. But I believe that pay-per-view was the most that New Japan had ever done numbers-wise. And Mercedes Mone, in conjunction with Kenny Omega, I would say, was the reason for that their sales skyrocketed, their ticket sales, their online buys, their streaming, because of Mercedes Mone. So she's not only helping to elevate this women's division, but also New Japan, and help bring in a little bit more of the American fans who, first of all, I still don't even know, I'm not really one who watches a lot of New Japan, but I made sure to pay attention to that because Mercedes Mone was there. And so for me, I think there's a lot of other people who feel kind of the same way I do. I'm not really drawn to New Japan person. I don't watch it a lot, but her being there was definitely like an attraction, entices you to watch it more. And she's also helping to elevate still in the early stages, the women's division of New Japan. So for me, I don't think the casual fans, we're a long ways away from the casual fans even considering watching or even knowing what New Japan is. But she's definitely bringing in a lot more hardcore wrestling fans getting exposure. And that might help cultivate then the casual fans in the future to come in. If more American fans are talking about it just now, maybe they'll spread the word, word travels, and maybe down the line, more casual fans will tune into New Japan. So that's just me, though.
Do you think that, because I agree, I mean, she is, what a way to introduce a division with Mercedes in there helping you build it. I mean, that's incredible. Who else could be on that level? I mean, Charlotte, there's a handful of women that could elevate a division that's just starting. So I'm with you. I just wonder, is it being more impactful for Mercedes' career, or is she helping New Japan get the impact? I feel like New Japan's getting the true rub here.
Yeah, I think it's more so. I can agree with you on that aspect. Mercedes, it seems more of a, she already has her star born, just for her, like she said in that Broken Skull session, she's always dreamed about going to Japan. So in that aspect, I think it's more about a personal kind of fulfillment for her, a personal dream, personal goal she wants to fulfill. She doesn't necessarily need Japan to kind of elevate her own personal career. She's already ascended that. She is still a major draw no matter what. So I think in that aspect, it's more of a personal thing for her career. But
it's a legacy thing. I think when you look back at her career, the fact that she can say, hey, I went to Japan and helped them build a division, especially if after she leaves Japan, she leaves it with a healthy division. Like, that's a feather in your cap to be like, from a legacy standpoint, like, I did that.
I don't think she doesn't need it to like that. It's not going to define her career. She's going to be a star no matter what, mainstream culture, but it's more of a personal goal for her. And she gets to go there, fulfill that dream, and help elevate a division in and of itself. So it's kind of, I think, just a personal fulfillment for her. She doesn't need it, but she's helping that division a lot by being there.
And I think that's why, for me, that I would say that it's going to be impactful, because I think she's going to be a star either way.
Yeah.
When eventually, because I know the expectation is that once she gets this out of her system, that she's coming back to WWE. She's not going to miss a beat, and her star power is still going to be just as strong when she comes back, if not maybe stronger. But to help elevate the New Japan division over there, I think it is impactful that she kind of left and bet on herself to go, fulfill her dream, and then still has that star power.
I will say, I do think, like, we're fucking kidding ourselves if we think her showing up at Forbidden Door to take on like Jade Cargill or something wouldn't elevate her even more. Yeah. I mean, for someone to be able to go to New Japan, start a division, have that awesome match with Kairi Sane, have the match she just had at Stardom, even though she lost the title, it was great. Like, having those under your belt and then throwing in hey, let's elevate this new 2 years in, quote unquote, it factor star power girl in Jade. I mean, Jade has an it factor like almost no one in pro wrestling as far as just the eye test. She is a star. And if you would throw her in a match at a Forbidden Door in Toronto against Mercedes Mone, that's box office to me. And I do think something like that would make it that much more bigger, her impact outside of Stamford.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, her showing up at Forbidden Door would be...
I mean, anything like that, dude. I would love to see... I'm not just hawking the AEW stuff. I would love to see her go mix it up with Impact's talent, because Impact... Yeah.
Did you guys see the news that just dropped about Impact?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Trinity saw too.
And wild.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
And she was at Ring of Honor too. Like a couple weeks ago, she was at Ring of Honor ringside, kind of eyeballing.
She was just at GCW too over the weekend or last week. So
I love that. I love that.
I think it's so cool just to see her show up and have a presence there.
Well, Mercedes is in a primo spot right now because she's working with a company that has no issue working with several other big companies. So it could lead to, some one-off huge matches in Impact and some one-off huge matches in AEW. I know Mercedes has spoken to the fact that one of her dream matches is Mickie James. Give me Mickie James and Mercedes at a multiverse, man. I'm here for it.
It'd be awesome, man. I imagine Mercedes, closing out Wembley with doing something huge there. It'd be unbelievable.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's the big shit you need, right?
And that's what I'm talking about. I don't want to sell her New Japan stuff short because Ella is you're dead on. I mean, this is a legacy thing. This is a feather in her cap. This is the equivalent when you think of the Dudley Boys and everyone's like, oh, they're one of the greatest tag teams. They are kind of dubbed as that because of their time going to New Japan and capturing those titles. Like that's what elevated them. So I do think the New Japan run does elevate her, but man, there's so many other options with her working with New Japan. You pull in Impact, you pull in AEW, she could really, 2-3 years down the road, she wants to go back to WWE. If she has matches against Mickie James, Jade Cargill, Britt Baker, even Saraya, a match with Saraya, anything like that is going to elevate her into an iconic status.
The fans would go into a tailspin if it was her and Saraya.
Yeah. Yeah. Be great.
She comes to clean up the Outcast. It would be the perfect setting.
All right. Does anybody have any final thoughts on this topic before we move on?
I'm excited for the future. I'm excited to see what's ahead, what lies ahead. This is going to be an interesting summer.
Yeah. Her as of now, again, things could change. They could extend it even more. But as of now, Resurgence May 21st is her last date on her New Japan deal. Again, it could be extended, but as of now, after that, it looks like she might be a free agent, which is a month before Forbidden Door. So.
Yeah. Maybe perfect scenario if I'm just booking in a dream situation. Exactly. Yeah. A debut, like a shocking debut at Double or Nothing to kind of kick off a push into Forbidden Door would be amazing.
Yeah.
You need it. Absolutely.
It's going to be a crazy summer.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys. Our second topic of the evening. Will Finn Balor ever win another WWE World Championship? Now, Ella, this was your question. I'll defer to you to go first. I had a nickname. Ella Damas.
Ella Damas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about it. Honestly, when I was saying the question, I was interested to hear your things because originally I was like, hell no. I feel like his run, I felt so bad. I felt like his injury kind of cursed any of his chances, kind of like Dolph Ziggler's thing kind of cursed him during his reign, his concussion. He only held it for a month and then no world titles since then. I felt the same. Finn might face the same fate, but like I alluded to, we presented the topics on Monday before there was any news of any championship coming, and then that same night, I feel like it was just a sign. Triple H announces that the World Heavyweight Championship has been revived, and then we see Seth Rollins looking at the title. And we also see Finn Balor looking at the title. There's that image of him looking at it. He was the first ever WWE Universal Champion. But the question is, WWE is going to be crowning a World Heavyweight Champion. It doesn't look like Roman's ever going to be giving up these titles anytime soon. So I guess kind of modified does he have a chance of holding the World Heavyweight? Again, it depends on the outcome of the draft. But, I don't think it's a hell no anymore. I still think it's a no for me personally. But again, it's WWE. Like, never say never. I never thought Kofi Kingston would win a world championship. I'm so glad he did, though. We've seen some people who we never thought would get there, or people, The Miz was WWE champion in 2021. I never thought he'd have another championship, and he did. So definitely never say never. I'm still saying no personally. But again, past years have shown me that there's always that little bit of hope.
I'm kind of with you on that because prior to the new belt being announced, and that belt is a debate in and of itself. I'll try to not get into that, but prior to that, I would have said no.
Yeah.
But with that belt, I mean, it does open it up, especially they were really tipping their cap of Seth and Finn, like you said, staring at that title when they were on Raw. But the more and more I thought about it, though, I agree. That injury, same with Dolph Ziggler's injury, I think Vince was a lot harder on talent. Like if he thought you were brittle, he would not put the belt on you.
Yeah.
He felt like he couldn't trust you to make the shows. But I will say it, with Triple H in charge, we know Finn is one of Triple H's guys. And that's not just coming from a Triple H ran NXT. That's like, even in the world of NXT, it was kind of known that Finn was one of Paul Levesque's guys. He loved this guy. So I do think there's kind of maybe a little bit of Triple H that may have a reclamation project in mind for Finn. Like, we need to give this guy more. He has been one of the people that I feel like has suffered under Vince after winning that Universal title. I feel like he could have been one of the guys, in my opinion, one of the top guys. And with Triple H there, maybe Trips is thinking, we could do something with this guy now. We could put him in that main event scene. I'm thinking, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor feud, sign me up for those matches. But it's all predicated on, like you said, the draft and where he lands and all of that. But with this new title and with it seemingly being, even though they're saying Vince is still kind of putting his paw prints on things, if Trips does have that creative control, it's possible. I would say, yeah, he could possibly win a championship again. It's not dead in the water.
I dig it. I'm hopeful. I really am. Do I see it happening? No. I think the momentum Finn Balor had before he got injured, right when he won that belt. Yeah. I mean, that's not replaceable. You can't build that back up and be like, forget it happened. Get back in line. Like, we're good. Come on. He really has to win not only the fans over, but I mean corporate too, right? Like you got to get people behind you. And the way his character's been for the last, I don't know, couple years, it's just has not it has not matched that same momentum he had going into that. And that, I think that takes away a lot from the race.
Yeah. I think he can now that, like, with this announcement of the new World Heavyweight Championship, I was on the same train, before I would have said, hell no, I don't think it would ever happen again. But just, I'd say probably a month, maybe 2 months ago, he did an interview where he said that getting a championship is not his priority. It's creating a buzz about something new. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for him to do that and win a championship.
So what you're saying is it is possible for him to win the bronze medal of world championships.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, let's be honest, this is a third place belt.
Exactly.
Roman's holding the first two, and now they've created a third. Let's just, this is topical. What do you guys think of this type of situation? Let's get into it.
This is your trophy prize. This is you did a good job, kid. Here's your gold sticker. Have a great time. Walk back up the ramp. Go get your hug from Trips. It's like it just doesn't make sense. If you already have your two belts on your main guy, he's been holding them for all this time. Not only creating a new belt defeats the purpose of his run, it takes away from his run, but it also
takes like a cop out to me.
Yeah, absolutely,
like a booking cop out.
Let him go to 1,500 days at this point now, because it all means absolutely nothing. Who gives a shit? But it also hurts whoever gets that belt too, because it puts them in a position like, where's your goal with this? Where's the end goal? Show me the end of the tunnel. Let me see what the fuck's going on, because right now this means jack shit.
Honestly, dude, I think Seth, I think the belt is lesser than, just in my eyes. I know they're bringing it back from the big gold. They're trying to attach it to that lineage. And that's one of my favorite belts of all time. But it still feels off to me a little bit. And Seth and Finn could possibly make something of this. I'm not saying the belt is dead in the water, but the one person, if you put this belt on Cody Rhodes, you have made a royal mistake. Like, it's going to make all the naysayer fans go after your decision not to put it on Cody at Mania. And you said the story's not over. And if you give him his first title run with the everyone's going to be like, you had to create a belt for Cody. You couldn't just let him beat Roman. It's going to cause a lot of stink.
The story's over.
Yeah.
If he wins that, the story's over. I saw a great picture of the belt. Somebody had photoshopped the middle plate that says it's the "if you had fun, you won" participation.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
What do you think, Ella?
I feel like I'm kind of in the minority here. I am not one who is, frankly, I'm not a Roman Reigns fan of the character at all. So for me, that belt has been held hostage for almost 3 freaking years now.
Yep.
And especially, I think Triple H made a good point because Roman Reigns is a part-timer. His deal is a reduced schedule. It's honestly, it's so frustrating. Half the pay-per-views, he's there every other month. Half the pay-per-views, Roman isn't even there to defend this championship that is supposed to be your biggest prize, which again kind of downplays some of the the allure to the pay-per-views where you want to see these people fighting for these top prizes. And I would say at least a third of the year, if not between a third and a half of the year, he's not there at your big pay-per-views. And so for me, it's frustrating, they did. And so that also forced them though to kind of elevate their mid-card titles, like their IC title. Gunther's doing amazing, Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins did a decent job of elevating that. I will give them credit there, but it's frustrating. You don't have your world. Can we swear on here?
Yeah, of course.
You don't have your world fucking champion on your fucking shows half the time. It's so frustrating. And so Triple H, I think personally for me, made a good point. I kind of enjoyed the little dig at Roman. He explicitly stated that this championship is going to have a defending champion, that's going to fight any place, anywhere. He's going to show up way more than Roman. And, I don't exactly know what the exact phrase was, but he pointed out that, Roman has had a reduced schedule. And so for me, that's frustrating. So for me, I can see your point of it's kind of, a consolation prize. But, it's about fucking time that we get a defending champion on whatever brand Roman is not on, has a top prize that is a world championship. I don't know what they're going to do with the other 2 belts, though, now, whether they're going to merge them into just the WWE championship, get rid of the universe. That's another question mark I have. But for me, it's about fucking time that we get a world champ that's going to defend the title. And at this point, it's just frustrating because going into everything, especially after Cody losing, I thought Cody would win at Mania. It's just become apparent that Roman is going to have this title for the longest time. At this point, I thought maybe, he'd ended at 1,000 days now, but I don't even have hope that he's going to lose it anytime soon. It's just annoying to me personally. I'm just so fucking over this reign. I do agree with you though, that it should not be Cody. Again, it's all dependent on the draft, but if Cody was saying he wants to finish his story, get the WWE championship. Yep. Roman Reigns has that. I have to agree with you there. So if anybody is going to be able to kind of restore some value into this championship that the majority of people that are kind of be Seth Rollins. And he kind of did that on Raw. I don't remember what exactly he said, but he kind of said the same thing. You'll get a defending champion.
Right, not some part-timer. Yeah.
So, Seth Rollins is a guy who, it could be Seth, it could be nobody. It could be somebody else, but
I hope it's The Rock.
That would just defeat the purpose of it. WWE. So for me personally, I get where you guys are coming from, but I'm excited to finally have a defending world champion that we can rely upon, and that's going to be their regular. Granted injuries happen, but is there regularly at your pay-per-views to defend a world championship that we don't get half the time.
Yeah, I agree. I think your world champion has to be on TV, man.
Yeah, you've been big on that. You were hard on Brock Lesnar when he was part-time and champion and never showing up.
It just sucks.
I'm with you totally, with the whole Roman thing and him. He's held those titles hostage. I'm with you. My only issue is you should solve that with storytelling, not a belt.
And also now it's like, who the fuck beats Roman?
Right. No, you put yourself in a hole.
The only person I could think of right now, I don't think it'd be him, but Roman has not faced Randy Orton in a singles match on television since 2015. Randy Orton was the plan at SummerSlam last year. He got injured. Randy winning would get him within one of the record. He'd be at 15. So for me, there's a little bit of a story there. You know, I just don't. If they were gonna have Cody win down the line, I don't get what the fuck the point of Mania was personally.
That's me.
I'm still mad about it. I will openly admit that.
The only stories I think that are on the table that make sense, one they kind of muffed, which was the complete clear cut one for me is Cody. Like that made sense. And then you have the people who are pulling for Jey Uso because that is long-term storytelling within the bloodline. But I just don't think Jey is the guy you need to beat
unless
Roman.
The whole bloodline turns on Roman. There's no way he'd beat Roman clean. He'd get Solo and the thing, a lot of our complaints were that the bloodline was helping Roman
right.
So to have it would be a story to have the bloodline, turn on him, but that's a lot of our complaints, that in almost all of Roman's defense, the bloodline are getting involved. It would be kind of poetic if the bloodline did get involved in him losing the title, but a lot of our complaints is that none of these title matches have been like clean, really,
And the only other guy you have, and it's because he holds like when it's like he's got Roman's number, it's Seth.
Yeah.
But to me, for Seth to take the title off of Roman, it's like Seth doesn't need to be made. He doesn't need that win. I feel like this is your opportunity to make that next guy. And in the eyes of the WWE faithful, I think Cody is a star there. Like, I feel like he feels like a big deal, but my God, if he would be the guy to dethrone Roman Reigns, you've got your next John Cena on your hands.
Yeah, they need to keep Roman and Cody on the same brand, and they need to put Rollins and Finn on the other brand.
Yeah,
whatever brand it be. People are there's been conspiracies that like Brock is somehow in on a plan with Paul Heyman and the bloodline. I don't know, but Roman's clearly not going to be back until at least wrestling in the ring until Night of Champions. Who is going to be? Granted, it depends on the outcome of the draft, but it's too soon to do Cody again.
Yeah.
I think it's too soon at this point. I think it'd be SummerSlam. So the question is, like, who's his opponent? But if it's anyone other than Cody, they're not beating him. So it's like, what's the point?
Right. Because just to kind of
in a corner.
Yeah, there. Just to tie back to the original question, I can tell you who's not going to beat Roman Reigns: Finn Balor.
Yeah. I can confidently say that too. Yeah. Which is why, if he's going to have any chance of getting a world championship, he has to be whatever brand Roman is not on.
Yep.
Here's a question: if the new world heavyweight championship comes in and it's a fighting champion every week, and this story takes off, does that water down the bloodline story?
It depends on shots. Yeah. I mean, if they're going to call it, this is the work rate champion, this is the guy that comes up like you are, like, oh, maybe this guy takes off too much time. Why has he got the belt? So, it starts opening up holes that don't need to be there for good storytelling.
It opens up criticism from haters for sure. Like if you're deeming this the work rate world championship, then there are going to be those naysayers that kind of side eye Roman and being like, hold on, you're telling a good story, but you're not really getting in the nitty gritty with the matches here. Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing that I think they're going to have to do is a better job of keeping the brands split up, because traditionally they'll do it.
It just goes out the window a month later.
Shit.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I still think the tag, there's still the question of whether the tag titles will be split. I think the only titles that should float right now are the tag titles if they're still unified, which I think they still would if they're still unified up till that point. But I do agree with you. Other than that, obviously the women's tag titles would also float. But outside of the tag titles, I think that it should be the brand split should be respected. And
You either go all in or you go all out.
Yeah.
You don't. I hate this like floating where you don't really know. Like either do away with the brand split or really lean into it.
Yeah. But then they need to split up at least the men's tag titles. I think for the women's, the pool for the tag division is so small. For me, I feel like they need to float between. But if you're talking about the men's where it's more expansive, they could easily solve that by splitting the titles.
Yeah.
100%.
All right. Anybody have any final thoughts before we move on?
Just put Cody and Roman on the same brand, please.
That has to happen. All right. Final topic of the evening. Which is better for a wrestler? Popular mid-carder in WWE or world champion in another promotion?
It depends what you want as a wrestler. Like it really depends what you want. Obviously, like if you want to get paid well, have excellent exposure, but you're not trying to be the guy carrying the company or the girl carrying the company, then I would say stay with the biggest company in the world, WWE. Like I feel like Dolph Ziggler, although I think he is world champion personified, his work rate, I think he's always been that guy that fans see Shawn Michaels in. I feel like he could be a star if the machine got behind him. Yeah. But I also think that's a little bit to Dolph being okay being where he's at. He's not a guy knocking on the door being like, I want to be the champion. He's just kind of fit his role and he's happy doing that. But then you look at guys like pictured here on the screen, Matt Cardona. He's doing things right now and he's more popular than he ever would have been as Zack Ryder in the low mid card. And look at what Matt Hardy did. Matt Hardy was kind of the Marty Jannetty of the Hardy Boys, had a couple good runs, had the feud with Edge, had some good stuff. Obviously, the Hardys are iconic top 3, top 5 tag team, but he was fledgling in the singles division. He goes to Impact, TNA, does the broken gimmick, and blew fans away. Like that was like something we never thought would come out of Matt Hardy. He wins the title. I think he's a 2 or 3 time Impact champion. So like, I feel like he never would have got that. And I think the broken gimmick revitalized the back end of his career. He could have rode on the Hardy Boys legacy and that could have been it. And he would have been a Hall of Famer for it, but he wanted more. And I think when he goes into a Hall of Fame, the 2 things he's going to be known as is one half of the Hardy Boys and broken Matt Hardy. Like broken Matt Hardy never would have happened in WWE. So yeah. It's hard for me to say, but just like my own personal leanings, I love it when an underused mid-carder in WWE bets on themselves and goes out and shows what they have without the leash on, and they just get to be what they want to be and see what they can do. So I think it's better to be someone plying your trade in another promotion, a world champion in another promotion, although there's not as many eyes on you. I think it helps your legacy more than just kind of riding the mid card in WWE.
I 100% agree with you. I mean, even going into the lane of Mercedes, I mean, Mox left WWE and look at him now. I mean, AEW, he's been running it. I mean, you could go back and even Bobby Lashley's time in Impact, that time where he was world champion there would not have, I don't think he would be in WWE right now without that, right?
Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. I seen it. It was just swirling in her brain, but but then, I mean, numbers. You see all these guys leave and do so much better for themselves elsewhere. Cardona is a prime example, and not just the only example, but I mean, the guy's killing it outside, probably making more money than he was doing in WWE, just having the time of his life, right? That you see that happiness on a wrestler, on a talent, you feel that.
Freedom.
Like, Freedom, yeah.
You can do what you want to do.
But you become more of a fan because of that freedom. You see how happy they are and how in tune with all this shit is, and they're like, damn, like it makes you respect more. So I'm all about being a champ in another promotion, because without that, you ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, I have to agree with Chad. I think it comes down to what fulfills you. If it's money, you're going to make your dollars at WWE. Dolph Ziggler just did a recent interview with Chris Van Vliet. He said that he knew he was never going to be the guy, or at least not likely to be the guy again. So he makes the most of his position, and he's pretty happy about it. And I know he jokingly said, like, what's the best thing that like you're most proud of? And he's like, the money. But it's true,
Yeah.
It's true, It just comes down to, what do you crave? What fulfills you? Is it the money? Is it the paycheck? Great. Is it putting other guys over? Great. If that fulfills you, then WWE, I guess the mid card is not a bad position to be in. But if you are craving that creative freedom and a platform to kind of raise your stock when you have the ability, if you're just given a chance to, then maybe seek elsewhere. Like you guys alluded to, literally as Chad was talking, I was thinking of Drew McIntyre. He came in as the chosen one. He seemed poised. He literally was deemed as the next future world champion by Vince McMahon. Went downhill, was in 3MB, and then got released. And then 2 years later, he was Impact World Champion, and kind of raised his stock and elevated him and kind of bet on himself and left. But granted, he was released. He didn't really have a choice in the matter. But he took advantage of that opportunity to seek work elsewhere. They gave him an opportunity and he capitalized on it. And now because of that, like you guys said with Bobby Lashley too, he went to TNA Impact, became a world champion there, came back. Both of them have become WWE champions. 2-time, I think, actually, since coming back, both of them. So, I mean, it depends, like what you guys were saying, it depends what fulfills you. Is it the money? Is it putting guys over? Then I would say mid-card is, the position for you. But if you crave that creative freedom, or you're craving to be a top guy, if you believe in yourself and other people believe in you, why not take that opportunity? I think it depends, again, what people kind of prioritize more or value more.
And someone we haven't mentioned that I think personifies this maybe more than anyone. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, he would not have main evented WrestleMania if he did not go to AEW.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
That he built that aura in All Elite Wrestling, and it shows, because when they brought him back, he wasn't coming back to smoke and mirrors and dashing. He was coming back as the man, the American Nightmare. So that's a good example.
Yeah, 100%.
I think being a world champion in another promotion, I think that, especially with Cody, that shows, when you have that creative freedom, it shows that you don't need the machine behind you.
You can do it on your own.
You can do
They're
it.
not the end all be all anymore.
Right.
And Cardona, I believe it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, he had tweeted out that it was the 3-year anniversary of WWE letting him go, and WWE was his developmental.
Yeah.
So, a popular mid-carder in WWE, if you have the drive outside of that, you can be Matt Cardona.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think it does break down to what you want. But I would say, world champion, another promotion.
I love that. Yeah. I love seeing someone who you knew, like, there's so much more, but they're just not getting the opportunity. I love seeing them go to another promotion and just show out. Like, for the people listening that aren't watching the overlay, I have Chad Gable in there. I'm a huge Chad Gable fan. I think he's the total package. Obviously, Olympic level wrestler. His matches are insane. And he is charismatic, dude. He has that Kurt Angle charisma on top of the Olympic kind of parallels with Kurt. But the thing about Chad Gable is his size in WWE. I can never see him being a guy who's going to mix it up with Cody or Roman. But Jesus, dude, if you put him in AEW, Impact Wrestling, MLW, any of those other promotions, he's a world champion instantly. Yeah. He easily has the charisma, the match quality. He is someone you could see putting your world title on, in my opinion. I think he's one of the more unsung guys in WWE. Nobody really gives him the love, but I love that guy. And I would love to see him tear it up on the independents for a year.
It's no secret that I'm not the biggest WWE fan, and I don't watch a lot of their product, but I do watch Gable.
Gable's
He's
awesome.
one
I
of
mean,
the
from
only
American
reasons that I
Alpha
watch.
to now with the sheesh, I love it. So good.
Fucking pops me every time. dude.
Same.
No, yeah, 100%, man.
All right. Anybody have any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
It's a fun thing, and you know, we're giving a debate here of one or the other, but the beauty of this is, if you were, you know, most wrestlers, they have that mania dream, they have that I want to be a top star in WWE. I think by venturing out and betting on yourself and becoming a champion in other divisions like the Drew McIntyres, the Bobby Lashley's, the Codys, all of that, it's a great stepping stone to get back to the majors if that's where you want to be, you know, like, so I think you can do both. You can ride that mid card, go bet on yourself, and come back a bigger star.
Well, the thing is too, you know, if you're a popular mid-carder and you have the drive, you can go out and be Matt Cardona.
Yeah.
If you're a world champ in another promotion and you get those eyes on you, then you can come to WWE and be big there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's
a win-win.
It's all in what you want.
The two go hand in hand together, man.
It's out what you put it in, man. All right. This has been fun.
Yeah, I guess real quick, since we're on this topic, before we get out of here, if you guys could pick one mid-carder from WWE, I picked my Chad Gable. Who would you guys pick out of any wrestler who you would like to see venture out and become a bigger player in the main event scene?
I don't. Okay. See, mine's complicated because I don't want them to break up the tag team. But like the fact that Xavier Woods only got his second singles title match on the main roster just last week is insane.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, Big E and Kofi have had their runs. Xavier is entertaining as hell. And I think he has the capabilities. I enjoyed that match he had with Gunther, you know.
Yeah.
I think he's so charismatic. The fans love him. I just think WWE hasn't really elevated him to the kind of singles potential that I think he has. Also, though, why am I only thinking of tag teams? Not that it's possible, but like Montez Ford, oh my God. I'm just saying he could be a world champion. He could be a world champion. I don't know why I'm breaking up tag teams. You know,
you got to do the dirty work.
But like, I think each of them could be successful elsewhere too.
Yeah,
so you're saying Otis?
Say Otis, man. It's just
Otis is charismatic, dude. He's the Chris Farley of pro wrestling. He's super entertaining.
love watching the guy, man.
Could you imagine when they gave him the Money in the Bank? I was like, "What a phenomenal out of the box move from WWE!" And then they took it off of him. Man,
he worked it. He did damn good with it though.
Over that Mandy Rose angle, dude, they botched that because that was so over with the fans at that point.
It was fun. Yeah. No, I'm going to take a wild card out, and I'm going to say The Miz. I would fucking love to see The Miz go toe-to-toe with MJF on the mic in AEW. Could you imagine? Oh, my God. I think The Miz is one of the most underrated workers there. And
can you imagine The Miz outside of a PG product?
I can't imagine, but I would love to see it.
I'd love to see him squaring off with like Nick Gage in GCW.
Oh my God, poor Miz.
You do a lights out debut for him, and he challenges Cardona at GCW.
I mean, they're friends in real life. So.
It would be beautiful.
It'd be great.
I would love it. Underrated, very underrated.
And I mean, John Morrison's out on the indies right now. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to reunions in some
Yeah.
Ooh, I would love it. Yeah.
All right. Ella, it's been a lot of fun. Tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter where I'm most active. Actually, so you can find me on there, but I'm more active on my personal one, which is at It's Ella J. But if you go to a wrestling gal, if you go to the link in my bio, all my whole links to all my projects and podcasts and writing are all there in one convenient place. So you can follow me on a wrestling gal and at It's Ella J on Twitter.
Perfect. Guys, go give her a follow. Awesome stuff.
And you never know when she'll pop up in a media scrum.
I know.
That was
We're hoping. Who knows? We're hoping.
I don't know. It popped me pretty hard when I
I
saw
was
it.
like, oh no.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys, that is going to wrap us up for this edition of the Turnbuckle Debate. Make sure you guys are following theturnbuckletavern.com for all of your tavern needs. Mike, this is usually Tom's spot to get his shit in, but I'm going to give it to you, man. Get your shit in.
Go watch the Fig Guys on the Fig Night every Tuesday, 6 p.m. on the West Coast, the Mid Coast, whatever you would call it. Yeah, guys, AEW wrap up Wednesday nights. We got Fig Night Tuesday nights. Just come down to the tavern and enjoy yourselves. Come hang out. We're always a good time, man.
Awesome. It was almost like Tom was here.
I
man.
know.
Whoa.
Court is dismissed.